El objetivo fundamental de esta ponencia, más bien de, como digo, de esta mesa redonda en la que van a debatir y van a compartir opiniones, como hemos hecho esta mañana, pues es un poquito evaluar el impacto que el Brexit está teniendo en las marcas turísticas del Reino Unido y sobre todo la manera en la que se da la forma a la marca de destino a través del vídeo, que es lo que nos ocupa durante el día de hoy. Bien, para introducir un poquito, como decía, Cris Torres lleva más de 2 décadas, 26 años en concreto de experiencia trabajando en desarrollo de marca y marketing y ha pasado los últimos 13 años dirigiendo su propia compañía, Tourism Marketing Agency. Con Cris van a estar, además, que también habréis podido compartir algún momento con ellas durante el día de hoy, Barbara Wood, directora de Turismo de Irlanda en España, y Cat Lever, que es brand de Escocia, Scotland, con base en Glasgow. Así que en el momento en el que estén por aquí, yo creo que ellas ya las tenemos por aquí, que nos acompañen para adelante. Bienvenidas. Bienvenidas y, como decía, va a ser esta casi última parte, por favor, adelante, antes de que a continuación demos paso también a Cris para que nos presente su libro. Así que, sin más, os voy a dar paso. Vamos a hacer, estamos en familia, no pasa nada, así que aquí vamos a ir sacando el mobiliario también para que estéis cómodas, para que podáis sentaros si así lo deseáis y traemos también esta... Ahora mismo Jordi es muy eficaz, nos va a traer la última silla para que los invitados se encuentren como en casa y puedan, como digamos, como os decía, hablarnos de estas tendencias y sobre todo de este impacto del Brexit. Así que, como digo, espero que disfrutéis de esta última parte de esta jornada. Volveré en un ratito cuando ellos terminen para comentaros cómo va a seguir el día y sobre todo los otros 2 días que nos quedan de Landing Madrid, que espero que estéis muy atentos, que sigáis participando en los workshops que hay y también el jueves en Fitur. No me quiero alargar más, que ya están aquí preparadísimos, así que os dejo con ellos y que disfrutéis de este ratito. Hasta ahora mismo.
Bueno, yo voy a ir empezando. Estamos esperando a la presentación. Yo soy Barbara Wood, la directora para Turismo de Irlanda aquí en España. Voy a hacer la presentación en español, pero si hay preguntas muy complicadas o cositas complicadas, quizás en inglés también. Turismo de Irlanda es el organismo oficial para promocionar la isla de Irlanda. Entonces, bueno, eso es algo importante destacar, que llevamos la República de Irlanda, que se queda dentro de la Unión Europea, y también promocionamos Irlanda del Norte, que sí va a salir de la Unión Europea, pero en general la marca nuestra es la marca de Irlanda, que promocionamos toda la isla. Entonces, no vamos a entrar mucho en el tema de Brexit, salvo decir que, bueno, puede haber, dependemos mucho del mercado británico en cuanto a visitantes a Irlanda y eso puede ser que caiga un poquito, pero en principio vamos a hablar cómo utilizamos el vídeo en nuestra día a día, en las campañas que hacemos. Simplemente quería destacar aquí la importancia del sector turístico en Irlanda. En toda la isla hay 325.000 personas que dependen del sector y es el sector indígena más importante. El año pasado sí tuvimos una pequeña caída en cuanto a los ingresos, pero manteniendo el tipo en cuanto a visitantes y teniendo en cuenta que el año anterior fue un año récord, estamos bastante felices con los resultados. Igualmente, mencionar que España es el 5º mercado emisor a Irlanda. En los últimos años hemos aumentado muchísimo. En el año 2000, por ejemplo, hubo menos de 100.000 visitantes y el año pasado 420.000. También, bueno, una pequeña caída, pero teniendo en cuenta el importante aumento, también muy felices y ingresos un aumento de 3%. Bien, ahora al grano, digamos, para hablar de la marca de Irlanda, el destino y cómo lo promocionamos y cómo utilizamos el vídeo. Irlanda y el posicionamiento de la marca o el destino es que es una isla llena de experiencias auténticas, que realmente eso es lo que está buscando los turistas, ¿no? Los viajeros, algo auténtico. Y da la sensación de vivir el momento, de conectar íntimamente con un lugar y con su gente, que para Irlanda eso es importante. Por lo tanto, la personalidad de la marca, las cosas que debemos destacar en cualquier pieza de creatividad o vídeo, es que sea un sitio cercano y abierto, lleno de divertidos momentos, con experiencias auténticas y que sea un sitio emocionante. El tono de voz que utilizamos en todas las piezas y en los vídeos es así, o sea, cercano, natural, familiar, informal, divertido y con un toque original, ¿no? Y un toque, casi siempre intentamos tener un sentido de humor, sobre todo con cosas como el tiempo, por ejemplo, que no hace muy bueno por ahí. Pues nada, el año pasado, el 2019, fue un año importante para nosotros porque lanzamos una nueva lema, un nuevo claim, una nueva marca, digamos, después de bastantes estudios y investigación. Y lo que decía antes, que los viajeros están buscando algo que realmente les toca, ¿no? Algo que les llena. Entonces, en inglés es Fill Your Heart with Ireland. En español, Irlanda llega a tu corazón. Os voy a enseñar ahora la pieza clave, digamos, de esta campaña o este lema. Y es un vídeo, voy a explicar un poco, es una pareja real que fueron a Irlanda para grabar y haciéndolo con un pulsómetro, o sea, la cámara conectada al pulsómetro para así grabar los momentos más emocionantes, los momentos que más les llegaron al corazón.
Dicen que siempre deberías escuchar a tu corazón. ¿Qué mejor lugar para hacerlo que la isla de Irlanda? Al fin y al cabo, tu corazón es el que más sabe. Sabe cuándo te quedas sin palabras o te pierdes en el tiempo sin importarte nada más. Lo has llevado a flor de piel y has notado cómo saltaba. Tu corazón es el mejor guía que existe y te ha llevado a lugares increíbles donde has hecho nuevos amigos y probado cosas nuevas. Así que sal ahí fuera y haz que llegue a tu corazón todo lo que lo hace latir. Irlanda llega a tu corazón.
Pues nada, como decía, eso era la pieza clave. Eso es un formato de 60 segundos que utilizamos en campañas de televisión y en campañas de cine, más que nada en los países más importantes o con más visitantes, o sea, televisión y cine en el Reino Unido, en Estados Unidos y también en Francia y Alemania. Luego, pues nosotros aquí en España utilizamos el vídeo con duración más cortita, de 30 o 20 segundos, y también 15 en Instagram Stories y luego en digital, exteriores, que esa imagen aquí es un ejemplo de la campaña que hicimos en Metro de Madrid y Barcelona, con un vídeo de 10 segundos. Y voy a enseñaros otro vídeo que es la misma campaña, pero es la segunda ola. La primera ola hicimos en principios de año para promocionar el verano. Luego, la segunda ola hicimos para escapadas a Belfast y a Dublín. Este es el vídeo de Belfast, que debe tener la música, que no ha salido, pero no pasa nada. Y esta campaña hicimos totalmente online, en medios digitales. El objetivo principal era la interactuación, o sea, para que viera el vídeo la gente. El objetivo secundario era dirigir tráfico a la página web, pero siempre sabiendo que queríamos que la gente viera el vídeo completo. Eso era la cosa más importante, digamos. Entonces, esta campaña tenía 3 partes en los medios digitales, de display, en AdMan y Sun Media, en social, incluyendo los stories, que nos funcionó súper bien, y también en programática. Cabe destacar que entre social y programática tuvimos una parte de retargeting, es decir, la gente que había visto el primer vídeo en primavera, enseñamos los 2 vídeos de Dublín y Belfast también. Tuvimos 8 millones de impresiones con un VTR de 60%, eso quiere decir que 60% de la gente vieron el vídeo completo, y con un cost per view de 5 céntimos. Como decía, el objetivo principal no era dirigir tráfico a la web. Sin embargo, las campañas de vídeo son una manera muy importante de dirigir tráfico a la web. Y para nosotros son 15% del tráfico anual, que tenemos alrededor de 2 millones de visitantes a la página de turismodeirlanda.com. Aparte de las campañas pagadas, digamos, a través de una agencia de medios, utilizamos el vídeo en el día a día. El vídeo es súper importante para nosotros. Hacemos campañas de co-branding con partners, por ejemplo, con Logitravel, que es uno de las OTAs o tour operadores online más importante. Hicimos este vídeo.
Bienvenidos al Paraíso Verde. Irlanda es el destino perfecto para tus vacaciones. Naturaleza, cultura, gastronomía. Vive unos días de leyenda. Explora sus castillos, descubre sus ciudades medievales, su patrimonio y el latido de la naturaleza. Prepara tus maletas, que nos vamos a Irlanda por solo 416 euros. Logitravel. Tus recuerdos empiezan con nosotros.
Como podéis apreciar, es bastante distinto al vídeo de branding. Eso es mucho más táctico, mucho más para incentivizar la compra. Entonces, hay muchos paquetes o ofertas. Y con Logitravel, este vídeo hicimos una campaña en televisión, algo que nosotros no podemos hacer sin su apoyo y su dinero, digamos. Y luego en YouTube y también en su propia página web. Y con esta campaña hemos aumentado 10% los pasajeros o los visitantes, las ventas de Logitravel a Irlanda. Otra cosa muy importante para nosotros son los influencers, que creo que ya ha habido bastante presentaciones esta mañana en cuanto a los influencers, pero para nosotros son muy importantes, no solamente enviarles al destino para tener su contenido, pero luego para utilizar ese mismo contenido, no solamente para aprovechar de su audiencia, sino reutilizar su contenido dentro de nuestra página web y nuestras acciones. Muy importante tener un buen fit con el influencer. No solamente es cuestión de tener audiencias muy grandes, sino tener una persona que encaja con la marca o con el destino, que tiene los mismos valores, digamos. Aquí tengo 2 pequeños ejemplos. Y otro.
Pues sí, ya sabéis dónde estamos, ¿no? Con esta musiquita estamos en Dublín, que vamos a pasar hoy y mañana por aquí, a dar una vueltecita por un montón de sitios, que ya estuvimos hace 1000 años.
Y tal y como decía Amrita antes, lo que es importante es que están enseñando, o sea, la vida real, digamos, o la vida en el momento, el destino en el momento. Y pues voy a voy a enseñar este vídeo otra vez también, pero quería mencionar también el papel de los canales propios. No solamente es pagar, hay que utilizar y aprovechar de los canales propios que tenemos una audiencia muy interesada en viajar a Irlanda. En las redes, solamente aquí en España, tenemos alrededor de 400.000 seguidores, sobre todo en Facebook, pero Instagram está aumentando muchísimo. Entonces, con los vídeos, un poco como con los partners o con las campañas de co-branding, hay que tener contenido distinto. Ellos están mucho más casi al final del proceso de la compra, entonces hay que darle otro tipo de información, no como el primer anuncio, que es un poco más inspiracional, sino información práctica y cómo va a ser cuando llegan allí. Y esto es un ejemplo del tono de voz, ¿no?, que decía antes, que es un poco el sentido de humor y destacando que, bueno, que llueve bastante en Irlanda, pero que bueno, por eso es tan verde y que puede ser que hay 4 estaciones en un solo día. Y nada más, simplemente algunas conclusiones, que el vídeo es al corazón la clave de todo lo que hacemos. Entonces, en cuanto a una campaña, pues la pieza del vídeo tiene que ser el corazón del plan de medios, y buscamos soluciones de nuestra agencia de medios en cuanto a la mejor promoción de ese vídeo. Muy importante la inversión, no solamente en cuanto a dinero, sino en tiempo, en crear contenidos, crear vídeos constantemente. Es algo, necesitamos pues muchísimo contenido. Tenemos también el contenido de los influencers o de los periodistas que van, pero nosotros, tanto nosotros aquí en España como la central, estamos constantemente haciendo más vídeos y publicando como mínimo un nuevo vídeo cada mes, porque por ejemplo en Facebook el algoritmo da prioridad a contenido nuevo, puedes saber si lo has publicado en otro momento, entonces eso es muy importante, el nuevo contenido. Ser constante con el tono de voz en cada vídeo que hacemos. También adaptando, como mencionaba, el vídeo y el contenido a cada momento del proceso de reserva, digamos. Si es alguien buscando algo inspiracional, eso es muy distinto a alguien que está casi allí. Entonces, eso es cuando hay que dar la información práctica y las ofertas, ¿no? Decía ya que los propios canales de la marca es muy importante utilizar el vídeo allí, y lo que también decía en cuanto a los influencers son muy importantes, pero es muy importante no solamente estar buscando audiencias muy grandes. Nosotros trabajamos habitualmente con influencers que tienen audiencias grandes, pero también con audiencias muy pequeñas, pero que realmente son gente interesados en viajar, y eso sí es importante. Y también que encajen con el valor de la marca, del destino. Y yo nada más, creo que luego vamos a tener preguntas y paso palabra a Kat.
Hola, me llamo Kat, pero desafortunadamente mi presentación es en inglés. So, discúlpame. So yes, I'm Kat Lever. I'm the director of something called Brand Scotland. So I'm here today to tell you a little bit more about that and how we use video within our strategy to help promote Scotland as a destination, not just for tourism, but also for talent attraction and migration, for foreign direct investment, for trade, for education, and migration. So what is Brand Scotland? We are all about place brand and place marketing. So place brand is very much about who we are as a nation, what do we stand for. So we spent a lot of time going through existing research and conducting new research to identify what it was that made Scotland unique and what people associated with Scotland. And what came out of that research was that we were known for being very welcoming, very generous of spirit, so the people of Scotland were known for their warmth, for being determined and creative, but also for being very pioneering. Interestingly, though, that's not what our international research showed us for being known as outside of Scotland, so I'll come to that in a second. And so our vision is about raising the profile of Scotland internationally. It's about getting people to know who we are and what we stand for, and then it's about influencing their perception so that it's not just a one-sided perspective, it's much more comprehensive of who we are today. And we do that through working in strategic partnerships across the public sector and the private sector, pulling together, pooling our resources and our expertise and our talent to make everything go that little bit further. So the idea that you can be greater than the sum of your parts by collaborating. So why did we decide to create Brand Scotland? The national organisations of Scotland, so the Scottish Government, the Scottish Economic Agency, Scottish Development International, and Visit Scotland, the tourism organisation, realised that through years and years and years of research, despite our best efforts, Scotland wasn't all that well known internationally in comparison to nations of a relative size. That's the downside. The good side, when people did know us, is they had a very warm perception of us, so they've looked upon us fondly, which was positive, but it was also fairly one-dimensional. So when we looked at the attributes that they knew us for the warmth of our welcome and our people, and they knew us for our beautiful landscapes, but they didn't know us as being innovative, despite the fact that as a nation we're one of the most innovative nations per capita when you look back at history. They didn't know us for being pioneering in terms of governance and policy and in terms of our culture and creative sector. So these are all assets that we needed to make sure people understood were part of Scotland in order to better sell Scotland. And so for us, it was about creating a really strong identity for Scotland that endured. It was about a long-term strategy to look beyond just the here and now and also beyond just one pillar, so tourism being part of that, but also looking at, as I said, the whole picture of attracting people to live, work, study, invest, trade, and visit Scotland. And this identity needed to represent everything about us, so it paid respect to the history and the heritage and the beautiful landscapes that people knew us for, but also had to look firmly forward to all the exciting things that are going on right now in Scotland. And key to that, at the very heart, is that collaboration. So we have our national organisations that work in silos across these pillars. So the Scottish Government work very much around the talent agenda, so attracting and retaining people to live and work in Scotland. Visit Scotland works within the tourism, the visit pillar. Universities all work within attracting international students to come and study in Scotland. And our economic agencies, Scottish Development International and Scottish Enterprise, focus on trade and investment. And so whilst they had successes in their individual focus areas, what they were missing was at a top level, if we came together, there was a brand piece to be done around Scotland, what we were and what we stood for. And together we could pool that talent and expertise that we built up over the years to do something far more powerful. Because when you look at each of these pillars, they cross over and they're inherently linked anyway. So taking study, for example, international students drive tangible economic growth in terms of the fees they pay to the universities and their living costs when they're there. So that feeds into both the study and the live-work pillar. But they also drive 52 million in terms of tourism every year because their family and friends come to visit them when they study in Scotland. So each of these pillars are inherently interlinked, and there's cross-pollination opportunities there that were being missed because we were working in these individual silos and not bringing it all together. So I think this quote from the famous American philanthropist, activist, and author Helen Keller sums it up really nicely, that alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. And that's absolutely at the core of what Brand Scotland stands for. Our strategy has 4 strategic focus areas. So storytelling is a major part of that, and that's where Scotland Is Now came into being. And I'll talk some more about that, but that's very much about creating a very clear and consistent narrative about Scotland behind which other people can galvanise and support and advocate. Our identity, so creating something that is strong and enduring over the long term, that shows people exactly what Scotland is and what we stand for internationally. Strategic partnerships, so that idea of collaboration and pooling resources. And advocacy, so growing a kind of might of many and an army of ambassadors around the world who will go and do our work for us by promoting Scotland on behalf of us, but in a very authentic and genuine way. But it's really important to recognise when you're talking about a place brand and destination marketing beyond just tactical delivery of a particular objective, that it's a very, very long-term gain. So you can't change perception and awareness of a country overnight. We are talking sort of 10-year strategies at any one time. So right now, we're only 18 months old. So we sit in this very medium-term side of things when it comes to where we are on measuring success, but there's a much longer-term game there. And we have to be really aware of the fact that we are one small part of the puzzle. We can only influence certain parts of that. There's other factors that are well beyond our control. So if you're a clothing brand, you can create that brand. You decide what the characteristics that go with it are, so luxury, high-end, tailored, feminine. You then associate it with certain people or ambassadors or celebrities, and you can pick and select and design that very specifically. With a place, your brand already exists, so it exists in people's minds and hearts. They have perceptions of you, and they're very difficult to change. And so what you're looking to do is work with a brand extension strategy and feed into that, so build on what they know about you and move that forward. Because for us, what we found was we had a very one-dimensional, when people did know us, a one-dimensional perspective of Scotland. They thought of haggis and tartan, kilts and bagpipes, but they didn't think about our world-class education system, the fact that we have 19 universities, more universities per capita than anywhere else in the world, the fact that we have some of the best R&D in the world coming out of Scotland. They didn't know these things about us. The fact that we have the biggest arts festival in the world every August in Edinburgh. And so it was very important for us to build on and respect what was there and move the conversation forward, but over time. Oh, it's gone. So step 1 was changing that narrative. It was building our storytelling platform, and that is where Scotland Is Now was born. It was created as a focal piece, a platform behind which everybody could galvanise and support. And so with that came a new tone of voice with those values underlining it. It came a new look and feel, so all our campaign assets, we created a toolkit. And the idea was to open source these assets about Scotland so that anybody who wanted to promote Scotland could in a very high quality and consistent way. So this toolkit's available for anybody to go and download anything they wish to about Scotland that we have there, from presentations to videos to ads templates and creative works. And that's because we recognised that our brand, Scotland, doesn't belong to myself or my team or the public sector. Any citizen of Scotland and any kind of diaspora connection of Scotland are a custodian of the Scotland brand. So we needed to help them do that more effectively to promote Scotland on our behalf. Because we've got a really great product, but this is only one part of it. So sweeping landscapes and cute animals, which sell, by the way, so use them, are all great, but that's only one part of our story. And video was absolutely at the heart of how we moved things forward. So after we'd created this marketing platform, our campaigns took a digital first so that we could reach mass audiences internationally, but be very, very targeted in how we did that. So we applied forensic layers of targeting to make sure we reached the right people with the right messages at the right time. And video was absolutely at the core of it, using quality distribution channels like YouTube and display networks like Teads to make sure that we could not only reach exactly who we wanted, but we could measure our success and learn. So we were always adapting and improving our strategies. And we do video in a number of different ways. We have in-house resource who do some fantastic work, Visit Scotland in particular, have their own drone pilots and professional photographers and do beautiful work. So they quite often will produce the raw footage that we create, and then my team will create social media videos with that for the kind of more organic, everyday content. We also work in partnership with other brands and with private sector companies and media companies, which is the first video I'll show you. And then we work on big piece campaigns, which is the final video that I'll show you, where we use agencies to bring in a particular expertise in order to achieve a particular goal. So the first video I'm going to show you is one that we did in partnership with a network from America called Matador, and it was all about targeting particularly American ancestral audiences. So we have a large population of American tourists that come to Scotland, but it tends to be an older demographic who have that one-dimensional perspective of what Scotland has to offer. So we wanted to shift perspectives and open up what Scotland is today to all of the younger demographic.
What's up, everybody? I'm Wade Hall, an adventure personality, content creator, and wild travel dude. I'm back here in Scotland, home of my great-great-great-grandfather, to experience this beautiful country. But there's nothing old with what we'll be doing here. I'm here to see how Scotland is now. And you damn well know I'll be wearing this kilt the entire time. So buckle up, let's do this! Woo!
No matter how much you love whiskey or how good your whiskey's going to be, it's got to mature for minimum 3 years. Well, gin, the beauty is it's distilled and it's ready. You can develop your recipes quicker. To gin, really.
It's a Scottish gin, I guess. There it is.
Hey man, can you maybe help us out?
Yeah, come on in. We'll try something different.
Thanks, man.
All my kilts are made by individual kilt makers that are very highly skilled. There we go. Do we swing for us? See how much fabric's in it? There we go.
Guys, we're here in St. Andrews at Tail End, and they tell me we're going to be doing some land yachting next.
Wait, what's land yachting?
No idea, but we're going to go find out. What's up, guys? I bet you didn't even know you could wakeboard here in Scotland. I got 2 wetsuits. Oh my God, it's 3 degrees in the water, and it looks like an absolute sun mission. Let's do it. I'm breaking your arms, I lose control. When I get there, I know the answer. Let me know when I get closer. When I get closer. So we just popped into Glasgow. I heard the music scene here is super rad. I'm with Fiona from Glasgow Music City Tours.
So here we are in the Barrowland Ballroom. This is the best loved music venue in Glasgow, not just loved by the people who come here, but by the bands. Oasis, Metallica and LCD Sound System have all said that this is their favourite music venue to play in the world.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Are you getting emotional?
I am getting emotional.
So, I hope you understood the accents in that. Those two are full of energy. But that campaign is one of our more typical visit destination videos where we were looking to achieve something very specific. So, focusing on the tactical objectives of shifting perceptions and attracting a millennial audience. Over the launch of Scotland Is Now, which was launched in April 2018, to this year, we did benchmark research to check how those perceptions had changed over time. And really positively, as we've seen well beyond what our expectation was, shifts. So we, as I said, it's a long-term game that we're playing. We don't expect shifts to happen overnight, but this campaign platform has started to change perceptions. And what we found from our survey respondents was that they said it was surprising, that it challenged their perspectives of what they, perceptions of what they knew, and that they were more likely to visit as a result of this because they saw something that appealed to them as an audience. The second piece of video I'm going to talk to you about is a little bit more serious. It's a much more high-level brand sentiment piece. So this particular piece of creative was created in response to just a small debate that's been happening in Britain. So in 2019, Brexit date was looming. 29th of March was due to be a big day for us. It ended up not being, but that day still had significance because it created an awful lot of conversation, both in Britain and in Europe, around what our future relationship would be and how things might change, but there was no certainty there. So from a brand proposition level, we can't get involved in anything political, so we didn't want to do that. But what we did want to do is make sure that our European neighbours still knew that we valued our relationship with them and what they brought to Scotland, so that they didn't think we were closing doors and we weren't feeding into that negative rhetoric, but instead we were saying something wholly more positive about what Scotland's relationship with Europe was, no matter what happened at a political level. So we focused on what was the emotion that sat under that, and a very, very simple piece of creative. A 60-second video sits at its heart with the message, Europe, let's continue our love affair. It was supported by print, so there was some print in our target markets, so Spain, France, Germany, and Republic of Ireland. It was supported by display online, and it also had some airport coverage in Munich and Charles de Gaulle. And this was the output.
Hey Europe! Scotland has a message for you. From our people, our universities and our businesses. From the bottom of our hearts. Our beautiful country is open to you. Our arms are open. Our minds are open. And yeah, sometimes our clouds are open too. But don't let that put you off. Europe, let's continue our love affair. Scotland is open. Scotland is now.
So that piece aimed to create a very strong emotional connection, as I said, that kind of cut through all the noise of the time. And comparative to other brand efforts and even nation efforts, our spend behind it wasn't particularly large. So we spent in total under 2 million in all of our production and our distribution and print, etc. At a time where press and media was very noisy, so cut through was going to be very difficult. But the results speak for themselves. So in just 2 weeks, we reached over 80 million people with the ad. Over 52 million people had gone and watched our video. We had a target of 10% population awareness of this particular message in our target markets, and we achieved 27%, so almost 3 times. And at the heart of that, I think, is because it was a very heartfelt, authentic message. We didn't try to create something that didn't exist. We were building on a sentiment that was very much there already. And the most positive thing for me as a marketer wasn't, those results are fabulous and it's great to be able to prove your ROI, but actually it was the heartfelt responses that we received back from our audiences in Europe around how much they loved the video, about what it meant to them, and about leaving the light on for Scotland and continuing to support us through everything that was happening. So this was what made it all worthwhile. And is it working? So more generally, is Brand Scotland working in our video kind of led digital strategy? Yes, it is. We are continually exceeding results in everything that we set. So we set out, as I said, with relatively conservative budgets. We know what other nations spend, we know what other brands spend, and yet we consistently outperform our targets. So we've reached over 220 million people now worldwide with our messaging. Our videos have been viewed over 181 million times, and of those, 38 million have gone through to completion, which is a really high completion rate for videos that are minimum 60 seconds, mostly 90. In ad spaces, that's very, very high. We also measure our sentiment and our usage of the Scotland Is Now hashtag as a measure of advocacy and engagement. And we see almost 2,000 uses of the hashtag every single day. And that's largely due to the organic efforts that the team put in. And that is me for the panel. Thank you.
Well, thank you both for taking the time to present your talks. So I'm going to apologise to the two girls that are going to be translating me. Broad Scottish accent, you've got your work cut out here, I'm telling you, that's for sure. So I'm going to start off with yourself. What I loved about what you've shown there was the Scotland is open message without being political, which I absolutely loved. Do you see, and I'm not going to go into the whole political debate, that's not what we're here for, but do you actually see it being an issue with us getting tourism into Scotland at all? Do you think doors are going to be closed in people's minds for Ireland or for Scotland, or do you think it's actually just, it's not going to be an issue at all?
Anecdotally, is my mic gone? Poland. Can you hear me?
Yeah, actually.
So anecdotally, we hear claims of reduced confidence from consumers, whether that's to visit or the bigger decisions, so studying and living and working. But that obviously there's bigger implications to those decisions and longer decision-making times. I think we won't know for some time, and the difficulty is that it's the uncertainty that surrounds it all that causes a lack of confidence or concerns people, because they just don't know, and nobody can provide real answers, not ourselves or the politicians. So it's always going to be concerned, but I think what's really important is that no matter who you are and what you do, that we continue to send out messages of openness and welcome, because the negative outcome of all of this is a rhetoric that's not particularly pleasant, that we don't want to see anywhere. So
yeah, no, I agree. Do you think that would be similar for Ireland?
I suppose Ireland is a little bit different in terms of, I'm gone now as well. We are still part of, or will be part of the European Union. The main difficulty for us will be, I suppose, the fact that the United Kingdom, or the GB market notwithstanding, Northern Ireland is our biggest market, so we have started to see some decline, mainly because of the kind of the cost differential now between sterling and the euro, and that's starting to subside though. I think as things start to become more clear, as and when it kind of takes off, it's been the uncertainty that has been the real difficulty. And if anything, it will be tricky for Northern Ireland, because that is going to be something if there's a need for additional from Europe ID, passports versus IDs, things like that. But at the moment, we're not seeing too much of an impact. We'll kind of have to sit and see what happens.
Oh, good. That's what I like to see. Now, one of the things that you had at the end in one of your last slides was you're investing heavily, well, you both are investing heavily on video. In terms of, I work with a lot of tour and activity businesses as well, in my line of business, and we always tell them sort of use a mix of professional as well as sort of iPhone guerrilla type marketing. Do you guys only deal with professional side of things, or do you look to use like customer videos and footage shot through an iPhone, for example, and use that side of things? Is it all just professional? Do you see working well for you, what you guys do?
Absolutely. The consumer-generated content is really important for us, particularly in our organic platforms and on social media, for example, and Instagram, constantly reposting user-generated content. That's exactly what people want to see. It's great, the professional, the kind of the slick style of the tourist board, but at the end of the day, people also want to see what real people think and what it's really like there. So it's a big part of what we do, and equally using influencers as well, who won't always be, some of them are very, very slick, but some of them aren't quite as slick, and that's a good thing. It's kind of showing it as it is.
Yeah, excellent. What about you guys, do you think?
So ours is very similar. I think for organic, you need to engage with that, but as you said, it's the credible voice of the consumers who are actually coming here and experience it for themselves, rather than the national body saying one thing or the other. So it provides that validation to the messages you do put out that are the high-end quality productions. But interestingly, we quite often see that it's the kind of grassroots, kind of in-house stuff that performs particularly well, because it seems to resonate. I mean, that can include our own team going out and creating content kind of that's just for our organic channels or whatever it might be. But the tourism board in Scotland, their social strategy for a long time was nearly 100% user-generated imagery, for example, on their Instagram, because it always achieved far greater reach and impact.
Yeah, it sort of gives the perception of when a tourist is coming to a destination, they can picture themselves better in that person's shoes if it's user-generated content.
It's somebody like them
exactly.
saying how great the place is. It's someone with the same values, the same wants or needs out of a holiday, saying that this suited them, and I think that makes it very tangible and very real life to someone. So it's certainly something we'll be continuing to invest in. Yeah.
Excellent.
There's also, I suppose, the ripple effect that comes with that. So if you're sharing somebody's content and tagging them in it, then there's their network and the network's network. So it's that again, that sum of parts that come together. And I think that's how organic content can perform particularly well.
In terms of organic reach and social media, which channels are you finding to be most effective? Now, we've heard about Instagram stories today already, so are you seeing that as a major platform, or is it going to be Facebook or YouTube? What channels are you seeing the most effective?
We see a mix. It depends on the type of content. So Instagram stories works very well for our more grassroots content, for Q&As, and less kind of polished content. The Facebook works particularly well for campaigns like Scotland is Open, where we're looking to promote out, because it's also to do with the sophistication of their algorithms and how targeted you can be, and the learning of those algorithms over time. You can do a lot with that if you kind of make use of the data and really drive insight from it. But it depends. Twitter also at times performs very well, but it's very specific pieces of activity that tend to perform well on that. So
Twitter we've used in terms of kind of real time, or things like Game of Thrones, around TV series, movies, things that are very topical, notwithstanding Brexit, and that's where we've seen Twitter has worked really well. It starts conversations going, and similarly each platform has a role, though we are seeing Instagram in terms of actual engagement. We have just over 300,000 fans on Facebook and 70-odd thousand on Instagram, but they're actually neck and neck in terms of kind of the level of comments and likes. So you much higher rate of engagement from the Instagram audience, and I think that's only going to grow. Stories we find particularly useful for because of the ability to click through for our industry partners. So giving a platform to a hotel in Ireland, and then it can sort of give them a click to their website. So that's kind of combining the inspiration with then a tactical offer, which is useful for us. We're always trying to find platforms for our industry partner to get them out into the market.
Excellent. No, what I actually found really refreshing with your own presentation, although it was in Spanish, I didn't understand a word of it, I can get the gist. I work with a number of Irish customers, and they're always wanting to target Americans, Canadians, because they've got strong Irish roots with family members, etc., etc. But you're targeting people from Spain in the Spanish sort of market. Now, how big is the Spanish market for Ireland?
It's the 5th largest market, and we've seen fantastic growth in the last kind of less than 20 years. So we had less than 100,000 visitors from Spain in the year 2000, but we had about 430,000 last year. And I think we spoke about it before, there's an affinity with Ireland and indeed Scotland with Spaniards. So we're pushing an open door, but we've seen a huge increase in access, so much more flights with Ryanair, but also with Iberia and with Aer Lingus, which has really helped as well. And so it's certainly a part of our sort of Brexit strategy is market diversification as well. The United Kingdom and North America continue to be the 2 big markets, but certainly as an organisation, we're focusing much more on mainland Europe, so on the likes of Germany and France, Spain, Italy, and the Nordics as well, that they're increasingly important in the mix, that it is important to make sure you're diverse.
Yeah, definitely. What about Scotland, do you think?
It's actually very similar,
very
which
similar.
Isn't surprising, but yeah, in terms of prioritisation of markets and the uptake that we see. So London, rest of UK, followed by America, followed by China's getting close actually now. It's starting to creep up, but there's Spain, Germany, France. So that's our priority.
See, I always hear mixed reports about China. You think there's lots of Chinese coming over and stuff like that, but when you actually look at the figures, sometimes some people say it's not as big as what people think it make out, because it's harder to market to that area.
A high value tourist is. Yeah.
Although going by, I don't know what it's like in Ireland, but I know Glasgow, for example, in Scotland, it's the amount of new sort of student places that are getting built purely for Chinese market is incredible. And you touched on the business side of the market as well, with all the new hotels that are happening in Scotland and lots of stuff. So the infrastructure's getting better, it's there.
Yeah.
And we're catering for these sort of markets, and I know Ireland's in a similar sort of stage as well, so it's good to see, definitely good to see. I'm going to ask one more question before I pass over to the audience, if I've got any audience that get any questions. But I imagine for both destinations, sustainability is a huge part of it. So how are you trying to promote sustainability in terms of getting tourists to come to places that are sort of lesser known, so they're not always going to Edinburgh, they're not always going to Glasgow, etc., etc. So what's your sort of, how are you going to get around that sort of aspect of sustainability? What's your...
So on a tourism-specific side of things, it's absolutely ingrained into the strategy. So we have a kind of regional and seasonal dispersal strategy. So trying to focus people away from the hotspots, because we see Skye in Edinburgh, for example, receive big peaks. And whilst we don't want that to stop, we also want to increase the kind of spread from there. So if you're going to see the Fringe Festival or Edinburgh festivals in August, also go and see other things surrounding Edinburgh, because it's not far and it's accessible. So it's about kind of spreading that wealth further, and then also the seasonal spread. So there's a lot of work in terms of how markets are targeted and when, but then also at a brand level, we're looking at what is Scotland saying about the climate, and starting to move us away from, I think we've got to the point where we feel like there's been enough kind of negativity and fear-mongering around it, that's good. It's got people thinking about it, but now we want to look at what the climate opportunity is and what Scotland's doing differently, and how we can hopefully kind of catalyse or stimulate a conversation around how other people can do the same thing. Yeah. So that'll be the next big brand piece of work we do.
Excellent. And how are Ireland tackling it?
Exactly the same. Unsurprisingly, and last year was the first year of a new corporate strategy where all of the new assets, you'd have to be very close, I suppose, to the product on the ground to maybe pick up on it, but there's no Giant's Causeway included, there's no Cliffs of Moher, there's very little Dublin bar the specific. It's all about creating new icons. So the Slieve League Cliffs and other areas. So again, moving them out of Dublin and into the regions, but away from those hotspots. And then absolutely on the seasonality. So again, last year was the first year, all European markets, for example, we were only promoting the off-season, so not promoting kind of, the months of July, August and September, on the premise that, potentially people will be travelling anyway, but we're really trying to make a difference as a tourism organisation is to the shoulder season and the off season.
Yeah. One of our customers is actually heavily promoting Skellig Michael at the moment. Okay. Just off the back of Star Wars, etc. And stuff like that. I think that's now becoming an issue now with lots of tourists wanting to go there. So there's a lot of big things happening. Does anyone in the audience have any questions for our guests? Yes. Do you have a mic? Is there a mic around?
Don't know.
No.
So there's only parts of that known at the moment, excuse me. They're going through negotiations around what that will mean, because there's so much uncertainty around everything that it's difficult to pin down specific areas. There has been changes like the extension of the post-study work visa, and there's been rulings put in place around current students or students who've already been accepted to come, and what it means for them. So Scotland, the Scottish Government are trying very hard to protect that and to continue those conversations to make sure they retain that, because there's real value in not only the economic or the direct economic impact that they bring, but the cultural and societal benefits that people from out with Scotland coming into the country bring as well, in terms of our learnings and development. Yeah. So we definitely want to encourage it, but at the moment we don't know the answer, sadly.
Any other questions? No? Well, I've got one last question then, and that's more of a sort of takeaway. If you had to give one piece of advice when using video or just when generating a campaign, what would you give someone who's either a tourism business or a tour operator or at the destination level? What would be your one piece of advice you would give them in terms of producing really good video? I know it's a broad, open-ended question,
one piece. I think no matter what kind of quality or level that you're going for. I think the ultimate thing is it has to be authentic. So it has to build on something that exists. Yeah, but otherwise it'll never resonate and it doesn't work. So yeah, authenticity.
It's authenticity.
Absolutely, authenticity. I think consumers can see through anything that isn't authentic immediately. So that's just keep it real.
Yeah, tell a story.
Yeah.
That was a far cooler way to put it than I put it.
Well, Barbara, Kat, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Please everyone give them a massive thank you.
Thank you.